Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a Merry Christmas. Welcome back to our second annual Christmas retrospective. I'm the scared parent, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by.
I'm the X, Kirkland Patzer.
I'm the Christmas Caroler, Dylan Moss.
I'm the misdirect Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is something we started. I think last year we did a Halloween, Christmas. We've done it here and there, but last year we did the night before, and this year we have done Better Watch Out, a 2016.
2016. I think it's 2017, first of all, but that is a made-up number.
No, it's
No, it says
2016.
2016.
Yeah,
No,
it's
but 2020... But you said 2016.
Oh yeah, no, that was completely wrong. Yeah, I will say this. This is our master record day, so this is cast 3, and this is hour almost 4 of podcasting. So it's been a longer day. So
With some very iffy content that we've been talking about. So it's been,
yeah.
been
So
one of those mornings.
maybe this will be the breaker. Who knows? So Taylor, where can they find us on the interwebs and everything?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us at your connection in the search bar. Geekverse.ca is our home base. Geekverse is our Twitter. Geekverse is our Facebook.
Oh, you did that too fast for me because I was going to find out who did this, but that's okay. Let's see here. A big thank you to April of Darkness, Patreon producer, who... get out of here. A big thank you to April, who recommended this and won the vote. So I will give the synopsis for this because we will, go watch it if you want to, I don't know. Not be surprised. Because I'd say there's S. Bubs had said this, and I'd never seen this, and I guess I'm going to go first because I just revealed my thing. But there is a nice little, I'd say 20, 25 minutes in a switch, but the synopsis is: on a quiet suburban street, a babysitter must defend a 12-year-old from intruders, only to discover it's far from a normal home invasion. Not a natural home invasion. Nothing natural about that. But, yeah, this was my first time. I'd heard about it every once in a while, but I honestly hadn't heard people being like, you have to see this. I just around the same like, oh, there's this cool horror film. And I feel like we had talked about this in the Discord like a year or two ago when something. I don't know if it was The Mean One or the Santa Claus with Dave Harbour. There was just some other Christmas horror movie where it was like, oh, have you seen this? There was some talk and forth back and then. So I'd never seen this. I did end up enjoying this, and I will say that luckily with the misdirect, that made me like it, or whatever the change up, because the first 15 to 20 minutes I was not digging it. I was like, oh man, I don't like where we're going. There's a certain storyline they're doing where I'm like, I just don't even feel like chemistry here, which is odd because some certain ages, but just there wasn't. I was like, okay, this feels very straight to DVD type of horror movie, and that's fine, we'll see. But then there is a nice little twist, and yeah, it's a good solid little flick. I don't know if it's going to be in my repertoire of watching it every year. I think this is one that maybe in the future I would, but there's some fun moments. A big shout out to the kid Levi Miller, who's now he's an adult, but still at this age, very fun, good performance from someone that's quite younger. So that was good. So yeah, this was an entertaining time. It kept me on my toes. I enjoyed it for the majority of the time. Maybe it's only an hour and a half, but maybe you could even shorten it a little bit, because I feel near the end it starts to almost overstay its welcome. Not quite there, but okay, there's this other character. I don't know if we need this, but no, I enjoyed it, and like I said, this was my first time. So
Yeah, I'm in a very similar boat here. Never even heard of this one for me, and I think it is a very generic title. So I feel like even a few months from now, if you mention it, I will not remember what it is until you tell me a couple of plot points. And I'm like, oh yeah, Better Watch Out. That's the one. But yeah, I had a really good time with this. I had the exact same journey as you, Travis, where I was like, okay, this is very generic. I've seen this 1,000 times before. But yeah, thankfully that happens pretty quick, where the switch happens. And then you just get some really fun stuff where, yeah, the main character really chewing the scenery. And there's not many characters in this. It's pretty compact in that way. And I think they all kind of do their job and whatnot. So yeah, I had a really good time with it. I thought it was a really, really fun movie. Not that it's an all-timer or anything like that, but just a very solid good time.
I saw this movie last year for the first time,
Ooh.
and it was a complete surprise. I remember I was popping off talking to S-Bubs about it, and S-Bubs, he shared a photo of it.
Were you guys sharing it on those chats?
Yeah.
Off?
He shared me. I think it was a tweet.
I love Better Watch Out. Get your Billy the Puppet Mouse.
He shared me a tweet, I believe it was from the director, where the director was actually hinting at the sequel for this. Like, oh, like stay tuned, like some new stuff coming around or whatever. That was last year. Or was that you that shared it?
No, I just mean like you don't need
It's
it.
not happening.
Yeah,
It's not
like-
happening.
I would
You
love
see
to
the budget
see it,
and what
but
it
like
made?
we haven't had any new
They set it
news
up.
on it, so it's. I mean, it is what it is. But
What is the budget versus box office?
Budget was $3 million, and from the box office, I mean, I'll just let you find it. I want to see your reaction.
Oh my god, box
Yeah.
office 180.
I didn't even know this was actually in
8,000.
theaters.
189,000. 189,000.
To be honest, I'll look. That
That's
screams
not
that it
good.
was streaming and maybe only opened a few places. But if that, there's no way they got a wide release.
I don't know how you could blow $3 million on this movie. To be honest, like
Get
I-
Zachary in here.
Well, as some, that's not his name. Is it Daiquiri? We discovered his real name.
It's not, but that's just how I remember it. No,
Daiquiri
you've corrected
Darcy.
me. You've told me multiple
Oh.
times, and every time I'm just
Hang
like,
on.
nah, Daiquiri Montgomery. I'm sorry.
No, Emily knows it. I'll ask her in a second. She's outside,
Um,
but yeah, I don't. As somebody like, I'm not saying. I get it has to just be the cameras then, because as somebody
It
as
must be.
I will a little spoiler. Our second film takes place mostly just in a house. I was like, yeah, where'd that $3 million go? I guess
Yeah.
we're not getting paid, but still, like it is like a $3 million. That like what?
the box office should be their budget, and those numbers should be flipped, but that's not the case.
Huge
Should be.
problem.
But yeah, I think the fact that this movie, like when I watched it for the first time, I was watching with Madison. Like obviously watching it this time, you already know what's going on. I'm expecting it, but there's still other fun things that just kind of like you recall and pick up on. But that first viewing of this film, I didn't watch a trailer. The trailer does give it away, the twist, which is. It's super shitty, but going in and watching it for the first time because I didn't see the trailer, it was like holy crap! Like we and Madison were trying to figure out what's going on. This is crazy. We couldn't keep up with it for the most part because things were just getting progressively more outrageous, and just how things were being one upped and upped and upped. It was crazy how far this person was willing to go in this story, and there was a lot of things that were really unexpected too that happened, but I was really satisfied with the ending. I definitely enjoyed it. So yeah, I think that this is something that I'm gonna watch again for sure, and I'm glad that I was able to catch it last year, because the fact that it came out in 2016 and went under the radar this long, that's super unfortunate. I feel
Wow.
like there was no marketing for this movie because I don't.
You saw that box office. and-
Yeah, I mean the budget that should have all went to fucking marketing and promotion because clearly
No one's
they
there to
didn't
spoil the
use
secret, That's
Oh,
what's
yeah.
happening. Yeah. So it's Dacre Montgomery
Dacre,
is his
yeah.
name.
I'll
Yeah,
try to
so you got
remember that.
going on. So Taylor, you weren't far off. Production. The film was shot in Sydney, Australia in January and February 2016. It was originally set to be filmed in South Carolina for a $500,000 budget. So they were originally aiming for that. When director Chris Peckover When director Chris Peckover was approached by Australian producer Brett Thornquest, these are made up names. These are some
Horn
name.
Quest. I love
Yeah.
that.
it. Some money laundering. scheme going on.
Peckover.
Golden
This is a
Gate
money laundering movie
Quest giver
scheme
right
for
there.
sure. He offered him $3 million to budget to shoot the film in Australia after hearing Peckover's mother was Australian native. What the fuck is going on? When are we gonna get a lucky break like that? Like,
Yeah, I wondered if it
oh!
was like, okay, let's go to Australia because maybe time of the year it's like winter there and they can have snow that they can use. But like, it just seems like no. Instead, it was just
No.
some random harebrained scheme.
Your
to
mom's
get
from
away.
Australia? Here's $3 million. This
So
is
he-
money laundering for sure. There's
The
something's
money-
fucking up with this movie.
The money was not for the film; it was for the
It
director. This
was.
is the director.
This is the sentence. Brent Thornquest offered the director $3 billion budget to shoot the film in Australia after hearing the director's mother was an Australian native. Something's
What's
fucking
confusing
up
about
here.
Weird.
that? Taylor?
Well,
That's a
it's
weird
just-
thing. Your
Yeah, it's
mother's
very
from Australia. Here's
weird,
$3 million
yeah.
bucks.
That's like yeah. It's just very peculiar. But like,
We gotta
Where
find
did the
some
money
big-time
go?
Asian
Like-
producers for Taylor's
The- like-
Yeah.
his legacy. Yeah.
you said like the money is obviously going. Well, not obviously, but the money is like for the cameras.
Yeah,
and all, like, it
cameras,
was all,
cameras and sound probably.
all one set piece, and just Christmas decorations. Really,
no
I
known
mean,
actors really too.
Yeah, so like, who's getting the bulk of that? I feel like the director was paying
Chris
himself
Peckover.
out.
Chris Peckover.
And his mom.
Put the
yeah.
money in
His
Run.
mom, yeah.
I want to see in the future we get him there for an interview for Better Watch Out, and we just berate him with questions
What
about where
happened to the money?
Yeah. We never ask him a single question about the money. Like, so how did your mom and the producer link up? You know, what's Thornquest like? I got to see what else Thornquest will produce after all we're talking. This is exciting. But so after that, the release in May 2017. So Dylan is right, where I guess some markets it was 2016, some it was 2017. It was released. It was acquired by Wellgo USA. It was released theatrically and through VOD, so it might have been a double release in
Yeah,
Australia.
I
it
feel
was-
like this movie's almost like too soon because I feel like it came out pre all these streaming services existing in a big way, except for Netflix. And I feel like it actually probably would have been a pretty successful big hit on a streaming service if it came out in that era when that was more common, I guess, like
Yeah.
COVID era or later or even a little bit before.
And then Australia was released in select theaters in November. So there you go. So it had some runs.
All
there.
the Australians being like, "Oh, it was filmed in our backyard," just like an American movie, like as American as it gets.
He keeps giving him all this money. Okay, so before we get into the actual movie, Brent Thornquest, let's see what he's produced here. So he's produced The Jungle, Infinity, Terminus, Better Watch Out, The Orus's Child, Blood Vessel, Two Heads Creek.
What if we went
Bloody
through
Hell.
all these movies and like all of the directors have a parent from Australia, and that's
Yeah.
like the defining thing.
Yeah, so this was really his only thing, but he's just, yeah, we gotta lie to him and say I also got a parent in Australia, so we can go film.
We got,
We have
we got
Kyle.
a guy
There.
that
We
a
got
guy that
Kyle
went and
down
stayed
there,
there. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so yeah, let's. If
I'll
you
give
haven't
my
seen the
thoughts
movie-
first, Travis, before
Oh
we jump into
shit!
this.
Sorry, man.
This one is very interesting because well, first of all, I had never heard of this movie before. Before I jumped in, I saw like the poster for it, so I kind of assumed it was a thriller type situation. It looks kind of spooky on the cover. And then as I was watching it, I popped on the Letterbox and I popped on a couple other, I guess, just rating things. And overall, it's pretty positive. I feel like everyone that I follow on Letterbox is like a 3 or higher on this. I really, really, really did not like this movie at all. I know, very, very spicy take. I
Here
was
we
curious how you guys
go.
were going to be feeling coming into it. But yeah, just like, man, I really did not like this movie like at all. I think a big part of it is the main kid. I really was getting annoyed by his line delivery. He was really chewing up the scenery, which goes
Oh,
one way
yeah.
or the other, and I hated it. I was so
that's
annoyed.
fair.
I checked the time 3 different times throughout this movie, and I'm like, I cannot
20
believe how
minutes?
long this movie is. I was halfway through, and I was like, man, if this wasn't a Patreon pick, like, there's no way I was going to be finishing this movie. Now, that being said, I feel like there is certain things that happen throughout it that I am glad I kind of stuck on there, just because it does have some twists and turns. The first initial, 30 minutes or whatnot, it just felt like so 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10, like a thriller type thing. So it was very generic. And then the twist happened. It kind of had me interested. And then it just I totally fell off with just what was going on the scenes. When my boy Dacre comes into the movie, that's when I kind of peaked again on my interest level. And then it's just there's nothing that even really happens with that character. So I was majorly disappointed from it. So yeah, overall, I just really had a hard time getting through this. I am excited to talk to you guys about it. Obviously, all 3 of you are a lot more positive on it. And I don't know, maybe you'll just talk about certain things that kind of boost it a little bit in my eyes. But I think a big part of it is just what they're going for, who they were doing it with. It wasn't working for me. And I think that's just where it's at, which is interesting because I feel like normally if a movie is mostly positive, just not even amongst us, but just amongst the general audience, I feel like I'm usually in that positive category. But this one was just majorly in the opposite direction. So yeah, let's jump into it. Let's talk about this one.
Did you put Dune on after as your palate cleanser?
Actually, no. I watched, to break the fourth wall, getting ready. I watched all of what we were talking about today yesterday. I watched them all.
Oh
I
my
started
God.
2 episodes
That's
of
an intense
X-Men,
day.
and then I started with Sucker Punch, and then Shay didn't want to watch Sucker Punch with me, so I'm like, hey, well maybe she'll watch this Christmas movie with me. So I threw on Better Watch Out. We watched that one all together, and then I finished off with X-Men, and then I finished off the night with Sucker Punch, which took me till
That sounds
2
like
in the
a
morning.
Awful.
Very,
day, I'm not gonna
very,
lie.
very.
I
very-
started watching this on Monday. I'm like, I gotta space it out, or else I'm gonna go crazy.
Dylan,
Did
do
she
you
Yeah.
still,
like it? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Dylan, do you still have that line from the X-Men retrospective that Magneto was going through in that episode.
Oh, and like weary of this life, weary of this darkness, something like that. Yeah.
That
was
was
me
Kirkland at the end
doing-
of the,
yeah.
the watches. Yeah.
Oh my
Especially
God.
like not all everything that we talked about today was very positive. It was actually
Yeah.
quite opposite. So yeah, it was a weird day for me.
You said Shay didn't
Big
like
Saturday.
Sucker Punch. Did she like Better Watch Out?
She didn't like it. She was concerned because she doesn't like thriller or horror movies like at
was
all.
quaking
So
in the-
she thought it was going to
She's
get too
concerned
scary.
for the podcast.
But
She saw
then-
the content we're reviewing. She's like, "What's going on? You
Guys,
guys?"
Her and I-
this
Like,
box office.
The
was
latest
like that?
Peckover movie. That's the best you guys
Yeah.
got.
No, I think it was weird enough that she was engaged, but like we were both just really not vibing with what was going on, and so yeah, I wouldn't say she liked it at all.
They're
Taylor.
separated now. That broke it up. They're like, yeah, we gotta. She's like, I can't be a
Oh,
part of
no,
this
I'm
anymore.
huffing.
Okay, now I gotta know what fucking Peckover's been doing too. 'cause
Nothing. He hasn't directed a movie since then.
What? It's
a
The
fake
most recent
alias.
thing he
It's
did is
gotta be.
2023.
Yeah.
He was a story consultant on a thing, but that's the last. That's the last of it. So
No.
unfortunately, this
Yeah.
tanked, and he just like hasn't had a career since, which to me is sad. Like this is a cool movie. It seems like it's very
Kirkland made that call. He was one of the
Yeah.
producers. No,
was one.
Peacock or whatever.
Peckon. Oh my god.
Peckover.
Because to me, this seems like the first 20, 30 minutes is like, it's perfect how much it's like close to just how generic these kinds of movies can be. And so to me, it seems like this seems like a very, I don't know, like expertly crafted maybe feels like an overstatement, but it feels like it's very aware of like what these movies are like, what the genre, what the tropes are. And so it's like doing that and then misdirecting it in a way that I thought was very fun. So it's disappointing that like there's really nothing else to see from this guy. And I don't know, like I guess Undocumented is the other movie he's done. I don't know if I should go back and check that out or something, but
Yeah,
it's
he
too bad.
wrote
I wonder what he's doing now.
Yeah, that show you're talking about, Wolf Like Me, is a show on Peacock.
I bet this guy would come on Geek First. I think we could land him. Don't you think?
One-on-one with him and
It's
Kirkland.
not like he's
just.
busy, directing the latest Marvel
Yeah.
movie or something. Like
Well, we gotta find out where that money went. Like that's a big.
he
big.
really
thing.
took the money and he run. didn't he?
Yeah, that's why he's not working. He doesn't need to. He's $3 million rich or whatever. Oh boy. Okay. Well, we'll take an ad break here just because then the people that haven't seen the movie, if they don't want to be spoiled on some of the reveals, if you've listened, be like, okay, I'm more tempted about it now. It is a Christmas movie. It is a horror Christmas movie, but it is a Christmas movie. So we'll take a little break, and then when we get back, we're full into it. So if you are interested, definitely don't stick around if you've not seen it because we will spoil some of the twists. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So Dilma, take us away.
Yeah, I was curious. Do you guys think that this was a Christmas movie always? Was it always a Christmas movie? Because I feel like there's obviously a lot in here. There's snow and there's like Home Alone references and things like this. But I also felt like for a lot of this movie, I kind of completely forgot it was Christmas was the setting. So do you guys think it always was that, or like I don't know where it would come like down the line. I kind of feel like it always maybe had to be, but I just feel like it'd be pretty easy to morph this into a non-Christmas movie. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you could definitely get away with this not being a Christmas movie. You just change like the title, and like that could be it. Like
It's
you
like
could
Die
have this
Hard.
you could completely have this in like a Halloween type setting, and it would be like the same type movie. There's a Home Alone reference at one point, but like
Yeah.
really that's kind of it. There's no major like Santa Claus type things, and I feel like for like the early portion of this movie, I was expecting some sort of twist to happen, and I was expecting like some crazy thing like Santa Claus is fucking invading this house or something. Like I was waiting for that reveal to happen, and then when it happened, it's like okay, it really isn't a Christmas twist
You're one of
or
the mean
anything.
one.
Like honestly, I was expecting something like that. The fact that it was Christmassy, so yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that this is just it's like when people say that the Joker movie isn't really a Joker movie. It's just they just happen to have
Yeah.
the Joker title slapped onto it. But
Joker's
yeah.
only in the last 15 minutes, Yeah,
Yeah.
that's to me. This is like there's two types of Christmas movies. There is a Christmas movie, and there's movies you can watch at Christmas. That's what Die Hard is, and that's what this is. Die Hard's the same thing. You take out Christmas, you replace it with any holiday. It's the same thing. There's a few references, but you can make
Objective
it.
opinion.
No, it's not. I don't understand how you can think this is not a Christmas movie and Die Hard. Watch Die Hard again. It's the same fucking deal. Die Hard, you can make it Halloween, New Year's, Thanksgiving. There's very few references. And same thing. So I feel like it maybe always is a Christmas movie because it's a good gimmick. Like it's a good. I like the title. Like it's playing off, the whole Santa Claus thing, and there's enough of it there. So I feel like it was in the idea. It's just not like you could just do this at any point because the how it's subverting is not the Christmas stuff. The Christmas, it's not like what Kirkland said, where it's Santa and he's killing people, or it's like it's based off of this. You could make it at any point. The family's going out for Halloween party, Thanksgiving party, and these kids are home alone, and one's horny and dangerous, right? So like, that was Taylor's chat name on that
I'm
Omega.
just picturing
thing or
that being
whatever.
like a
Dangerous.
subtitle for the next Home Alone. Just like,
Or that could be number 2 for this. Better watch
Horny
out.
and
Horny and
dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah. Have you seen the guy now, Levi Miller? He's like more like
horny and dangerous
I saw him
now?
playing guitar. He looked pretty jacked. So
Looks like she needs salt
Um,
burn.
yeah, exactly. I'll put these 2 movies together for sure. Oliver showing up. So yeah, I bet it was as just like it's a good hook, but because like they also have like the snow was there. Like there's enough things that I guess you'd have to ask, but I think there's enough things that feel like conception. It was like we want this to at least take place at Christmas, and it helps it. It's good. Like I think you had to take this place at like a holiday. That helps it a little bit. So
Levi Miller is in Craven the Hunter.
I heard about that. Yeah,
So I'm curious what he's going to be doing in that. Look forward to that.
asking for more producers for some money. You know, my director's mom was in Australia. They're like, no, we heard what happened to Brent Thornquist. He took all the money and ran. We're not listening.
Like him just morphine every time we say it.
Right, it's Quest. Oh, man.
But yeah, I mean, I guess getting into the twist, the reveal that it was the kids setting up this whole scheme, and yeah, then like this main, what's the name of the kid? Because I don't want to keep saying Levi Miller. What's the name of the actual character?
Oh, he's
Luke.
Luke, right? Yeah, just being a full-on psycho and going crazy here, locking her up. I love that he has planned out this whole night to such an extent that he's got a plan for how everything is going to play out, setting up this like suicide note for explaining how the boyfriend came back and all that. Like to me, when it gets to that part, I just think he's so fun in that role because he's very much like Kylo Ren, where he's just like, he's an emotional baby. He's just crying and freaking out at anything that's not going like exactly to his plan. And I know Kirkland's not a fan, but yeah, I thought he was like a really, really fun character when we got to that point of it.
I said, don't touch her, asshole. And he like shoots his friend away and everything.
This
so.
is not part of the plan.
Yeah. No, I guess, yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry, Kirkland, you were annoyed by the kid, but it's not, I can see it though. It's not like a what? It's not like a performance from like, this kid was amazing. I liked the chewing the scenery is good. It reminded me very much like of a human Chucky doll. That's why he was playing it off. Like this kid felt like what Chucky feels like sometimes, where he has little quirks and stuff. And again, I was, what?
Sorry, I'm just thinking of that scene from the Chucky TV show.
You're watching the Chucky TV show now?
I've
There's
only
that
seen
video.
the clip. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Oh, right. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. So
you, Devin.
I was happy that it happened because I did feel like before the twist, he was even coming off as a little creepy and a little meh. And I did not buy it all when she's like, "Oh, if you were my age, maybe I'd date you." It's like, I'm not seeing this at all. Like, there's movies like The Sandlot where you can see like the older girl and the younger, and you say, "Oh, like somehow they even do like this chemistry," or even like in It, they do that a little bit. But like here, it's like, this is just all creepy. And I was like, if this whole movie is this like meet cute of these two getting together, I'm like, I'm not for any of this. But luckily it wasn't, and I kind of like that that's the playoff on it, because even before he's like researching about like how, oh, if you watch scary movies it gets girls like more horny and into it. So like he's all like, he's playing a trick, but I feel like he's trying to like still win this girl over, because like I know he has the plan, but I don't know what, that wasn't his plan from the beginning of the night, right? That's the
I
plan
felt like
after
it
he
morphed.
yeah, more
Yeah,
right.
it kept going off the plan, and he was kind of improvising. But
Yeah.
it still felt like to some extent, I feel like he had some of these backup plans in mind.
Yeah.
Just with the way he so quickly thought about some of these crazy schemes.
And it is a great moment where all that happens, and then she's yelling at him, and he just slaps her, and she just goes down the stairs. And I was like, "Is she dead?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?" Like, it was such a good. I love that there was very little buildup. There was buildup in like that 10 seconds, but it was the right amount of not me figuring out like, oh, something's off with this kid, because I was not expecting him just to like. I like that he even just slapped her too. It wasn't a punch; it was a slap. Like, it was just something that
But
I
he
wouldn't.
smacked her with the gun, right? Because he had the gun in his hand.
Did he?
when
I
he
thought
did
just,
that.
Oh, maybe he did. I thought he just
Pistol whipped
slapped
her.
her.
I thought it was a slap.
I can't remember.
It was a slap. We outvoted, you know.
There
3
you go.
million to 1.
Kirkland
no.
clearly wasn't watching a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring it
I
up
turned the
again.
movie
Start from
off,
the
so you guys are
beginning.
probably right.
Yeah, he was watching that in Sucker Punch at the same time. He's like, oh.
Yeah, mistaken
And X-Men,
gun for
yeah.
hand.
Just 3 screens.
And then
But
Wolverine
yeah,
pops through.
no, I think it's like we talked about before. The beginning is a generic start, but it works in kind of conception of what happens after. Because at first I'm like, oh, right, like what's going to happen? So the second they say, oh, isn't that your mask? That's when the fun starts to happen. And yeah, hijinks ensues.
That kiss that he goes for on the couch when they're watching the movie, I was dying laughing at that. Like he just like, I don't know, just like the whole movement he does there. It's just so
Yeah.
over the top. I loved it.
So yeah, so the opening portion of the movie, like I said earlier, it just seems so generic and just boring and like forgettable. So I am glad that that wasn't the whole movie. I think that I was expecting some sort of twist to happen. Like I said, I was expecting some fucking Santa Claus thing, mean one level twist. I wasn't expecting exactly that it was just his plan all along. I feel like, unfortunately, like I was kind of just bored of it in that sequence, and then when it just we kept going on of like him trying to like win her over, and I think I just had way too much like over analyzing of the situation of like he's like supposed to be 12 years old and she's what 5 years older than him, I think they
5
said
in the show
in
form
the
real life,
sequence, and I'm just like, this is so cringy to watch. I hate this so much. Like all these scenes are going on way too long of him trying to like schmooze her. And I just really wasn't vibing like that early on with just his charisma of the actor, like just selling these scenes. Obviously, you guys took it the right way. I took it the wrong way here. And then so those sequences were already going on way too long for me. I just wasn't liking the material that we were getting. And then I think I really like piqued my interest when we did get that reveal, when he does get to the point of like smacking her down the stairs, and it's just like, holy shit, what is going on here? This movie is not what I expected. But then when we go into this, just like again, like he is the main villain here. He is the one chewing up the scenery. I was just really annoyed with it because I was just getting like, yeah, he is a psychopath, but it's also like he just seemed like a very like overly privileged child of just like he's so upset that this babysitter isn't just like wanting to smooch him and like be his girlfriend. I just really was like, man, there's no like there's nothing for me that like makes me want to, I don't know, like watch this sequence go on. And like really, like if this was a patient movie, I feel like I would have just turned off the movie right there, which is probably good that I had to stick through it and watch it because there is some twists and turns that kind of happen along the way there. But I just really didn't like the character, and it's just, I don't know. I guess I just took it not in the right way there. But yeah, so. Yeah, I really don't have like much more to say on like the character over that. It's just it wasn't working for me. At the end, it was kind of fun when like the music changed and his mom and dad were coming home, and he just like had a list of things to like, this is just how he's gonna be innocent. But yeah, I just really wasn't a fan of that character, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
I was really worried. Kirk was like, that's really all I had to say. And then he said that character.
Just turn off my computer.
27 minutes into the podcast, that's all I had to say. That's it.
Yeah, I think the actor did a great job because the character is very much, you get angry with him and frustrated because he just keeps getting the one up, and just in situations where you think, man, how is he pulling through, and how's he got her tied up, how's he taking down the exes, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, fuck, he's just still coming out on top. His plans are changing, and he's still just this little shit. And I think I liked how he was doing this, and even though he was like just getting on my nerves, but that I think he had kind of like a Joffrey Game of Thrones vibe to him, I guess you could say, and just very immaturely at the top of the food chain, and you hate him. So I definitely enjoyed that aspect, and just how he's going about doing things. It's just, that's where it starts to get really like more humorous and whatnot. But at the very beginning, I thought that there was something weird going on, and that didn't start until maybe the back half of when things went really like sideways. So I thought, oh, okay, we're really getting just like some home invasion, like serial killer kind of setup here. When like the friend died and all that kind of stuff, I was really like, I was eating it up. Thought, okay, this is pretty crazy. But again, it felt like, okay, this is something we've seen before. But then that twist, it's so like, you're at 100 because you feel like this guy's walking around with like a shotgun, a rifle in the house. You feel like things are really going to go sideways. But then it immediately when she figures out who it is, the twist has calmed down. Like, okay, this is really what's going on. And there's a moment of reprieve and it's calmed down. And you don't feel like it's going to go up the ante again. But like you said, that slap comes and it's like, holy shit, we're in another, like we've crossed that line and we're in a really wild moment now with what our characters are doing. So I like that.
Yeah, and I do like because there's always this sort of. I guess they do, but what I like is there is stakes throughout where you get that one boyfriend that died, you get the friend that died. Because sometimes I feel like a lot of these situations, there's a lot of like when that boyfriend showed up and he has the flowers. I like that the kid didn't explain it away because I think we've all seen movies that where the neighbor does get explained away and then they don't come back to maybe the third act. So I like that. I think if the whole movie was just the two young boys and her tied up and like talking him down, the twist would be fun, but for me the rest of it wouldn't be there. But I like that first boyfriend, he like tricks the kid to get in there, right? So like, oh shit, what's gonna happen now, and then he gets a baseball. Now I don't know, the fact, I guess, right, the gun came in, but I still feel like he was pretty weak against those two kids. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like he was a 5-year older gentleman. He should have been fucking punting these kids, but alas, he did not. But he was quick on his feet to pee and get the kid out of there and stuff. So, and I think that's the best part about this too, that there's certain things where you go, why would a character like the bad guys walk out or not catch this? But because they are dumb kids, you kind of get a lot of free range to do a lot of that stuff, right? So why wouldn't the kids think that? Why would they think this almost adult male would just pee randomly? He says, I gotta go pee, and then he just pees. No one does that but like a 1 or 2 year old, right? Like that's not a thing. But them being a kid, they don't think that. They just think this guy's scared and and I'm gonna leave for a bit, or even with our main character, he doesn't really think his best friend's gonna turn on him. So when he's like out there messing with Dacre, which that was one that I wish there was another way to get him out of the room. I didn't need Dacre added in there. I thought that's where for me it's like, okay, the movie is going a little long for me. So when Kirkland was like an up for you, it was like a down for me. Like, okay, like we're getting along on the two with you already. Like the concepts where it is, but I think they do a good job of still, okay, he's a clever kid, but they're still kids and they can still be outsmarted a little bit, even though they had the copious amount of weapons between a fake gun and bats and that thing that fake killed the other kid. So
Fucking
very
pencil too.
Kevin McAllister, yeah.
I got so excited though when Dacre was just in the car and he's just like he's wearing like the funny outfit. I'm like, man, he's gonna be this asshole. Like it's like we're getting Billy again from Stranger Things. So I really got excited for just what was gonna come, but man, what a misuse of that actor. Like why even have him in this movie? It really is nothing that you get from it. Like you don't even need that X to come. I don't think it brings anything into the movie.
You just
right?
have to. You're the because I thought about this too, and then I'm like, okay, the reason is they need Luke out of the house because they need the friend and her together. I still think there's some other way you could do it, but that's the reason is you need them to talk. But it doesn't even matter that much because like. He just make him go to the washroom because what happens is Luke comes in, shoots the kid, kills him right away, and then just kills her, right? So it's not like there's this big chase scene set up. Like his friend making a babyface turn doesn't change anything in the movie. Everything still goes to shit. So that's why I still rack my brain and go, you could just chop that. It's not a big thing, but it's a little thing where I guess maybe they just want the kid to maybe have another victim too, like make him more evil that he kills this guy with how does he hang him again? He uses some contraption,
He's a tractor, right, on the one side, and throws it like
Right.
up.
That's right.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like that sequence needed to happen so there was some believability that he could pull off this whole thing, and there would be like a logical motive for who came to the house and performed all these killings. That like I guess he didn't really have a way for that to make sense with the current boyfriend, so he needed to bring in this previous guy. So maybe that is the reason for it. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess
I
that
don't,
could work.
pacing wise, I didn't really have, I guess, the same issues that you guys did with that sequence of it.
Got the nice Home Alone reference. They didn't. Again, they had that $3 million budget. You don't get to see the face of the guy, but
Yeah, I was gonna
still,
say very PG-13 vibes with some of the
Yes.
action stuff, and that was the one that stood out the most.
yeah. So I thought we might see it, but it was a fun little moment. Again, same thing. Like it's there's little stuff when he throws the paint can, and the girl doesn't really react. Like
Yeah.
you could try to.
It's
Help
fun
your
because we all
guy
think
out.
about that. Like, man, if you threw a brick at Marv's head, like That's not what would happen. He would just straight up die. And so I
Yeah.
like that they kind of joked in that way, where it's like, oh, you said that it would just knock him back, like it wouldn't do anything wrong, but it just snaps his neck.
Who's winning, Kevin McAllister or Luke?
Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Luke's more
I'm like,
emotional.
Oh yeah.
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 Luke's got a gun though, like multiple guns.
So did the Web Bandits.
But they didn't have. Oh right, I guess they had.
Number
What
two.
bandits
Kevin
didn't
had a
have-
pellet gun though.
Number
right?
2, they
Right.
had the gun.
Yeah, because they can't fire it because he's slippery.
Oh, right.
It's tough because at the end of the day, Kevin wins and this guy still loses, right? Because he couldn't even confirm his kill with the girl. She was very, and I did like that very clever way. They even said, "Oh, she's such a smart girl," but that was smart. That the whole movie she was working on that tape, and she does keep the tape to put over her throat. And I do think that's a really. I like the ending of her going to the ambulance, just that middle finger, and he's like, "Mom,
Yeah.
like we should go to the hospital. I'm really worried about." So I just picture him at the hospital, like scrambling around and fucking trying to kill her. But
Yeah, pulling the plug on the life support. You know,
exactly. But like he didn't get away with it. Where Kevin, his parents twice.
he
have
might
no
have though.
idea.
That's the thing.
might
Like the
have,
ending
yeah.
is not declarative one way or the other.
No,
There's
there's
even
no
like a
way.
mini. There's even like a mini post credit scene, right, where he's like, "Oh, let's go to the hospital."
Yeah, I
So
just said
it's
that. Yeah,
setting
you pull
up
a tape
stuff,
there. Yeah.
I wasn't listening to you. I was waiting for you to finish so I could talk.
But I mean, come on. Like there's no way we can say that the plan was foiled at the end, right?
The
Because if they
second
do go to the
she's
hospital,
there, all she has to do is take off that mask. Say, "Yeah, that kid
she can't
killed
talk
everybody."
though. She's like so fucked up.
She can write
Yeah.
it down.
She could write. Yeah, exactly. She wrote it down. That kid's fucked. There's no
The
way.
fact
Like,
that she did the middle finger implies like she knows he's
to me,
done.
it'd be different if she was just in the hospital, like on the gurney, and you'd be like, "Oh fuck, what state?" But the fact that she has the mind to middle finger, was like her mind is consciously working
I
right
mean,
now. The second
if she
that's
goes to
done,
the hospital, let's
hey.
say that takes 10 minutes, and then they show up because they do go to the hospital. The mom takes them there. Like she could be gone within a half an hour.
Gone where?
Like she could be at the hospital and he could go there and finish her off. However,
No,
he did.
cops would be all over her in that situation. They would be interviewing her if she was awake and stuff like.
I don't think she can talk. I think the knife to the throat is enough.
That's fine, but if they have a surviving victim from this house attack, they're gonna send police to the hospital. They're not just gonna have her be chilling there.
See,
by
I
herself.
totally like. I don't think their first instinct is going to be, "Hey, can you write down what happened here?" I think,
But she might be like pen, paper. Like if I was attacked by this little kid, I think with Taylor, just the middle finger to me is like her mind's already working. That's where I think it would have been better. In my mind, it's okay. He's fucked. He's gonna go to a little juvie or whatever. But that's why I think if you want to be left, you don't do the middle finger. But she's ready to go. She could just request.
But you're
something.
assuming so much here. Like she doesn't know any of the stuff he did in the backyard. Really, like she doesn't know that he set up the ex-boyfriend and whatnot.
But it doesn't matter. All she has to say is if she could speak, she's just like, yeah, that kid did this. The kid stabbed me, and right away they'd be like the second you'd say that, that's when the police would be, okay, fuck, there's something. Even if they thought she might be lying or loopy. The second if she said no, none of that happened, this happened, the police would be all over that kid. Like she'd be separated. You can't visit right now. They're not going to let the kid that she said, oh, this kid killed me, even if he's family. Oh, you could go in and visit. Like there's no fucking way he gets in that room. There's no way. He's fucked. He's in a little juvie. Maybe we'll get
Like,
the
we'll have
sequel.
to
He's not
agree to
fucked.
disagree on this one. I think there's enough that where she probably thinks she's safe too. Like I don't know if she's immediately like freaking out trying to get this plan explained out, and especially if she can't speak. So
I think she dies in the ambulance on the way to the
Fuck.
hospital because that is a fucking brutal wound. Especially like I was watching with Shay. She's like, "There's no fucking way duct tape would save her in that instance." So I'm like,
That-
"Okay, yeah, that works for me."
Yeah, that
Most
would
of
be
the
how
nurse.
you would have to do the sequels. You'd have to pick up, and she'd already be dead because I don't think because there's no sequel with both of them alive, right? Other than him going to prison because she's alive. It's like, well, he would go to the hospital and kill her, or she would have had to die on the way.
It'd have to
'cause-
pick up like directly after like the original
can't do
Halloween
that.
2, where Laurie goes to the hospital, like just follow right after the events.
yeah, but you can't do that.
You got our protagonist that's
The
like
kid's
29 years
he's
old.
7
now.
years older now.
7 foot, just fucking.
He shows up.
Adonis.
I'm a man now. yeah. So that's how you'd have to. That's why I saw your email or the message there about the director saying like, "Oh, I got a great idea." So I'm not sure what it would be, but yeah, you'd have to have her. She'd have to die on the way, or yeah, then he did get to her because you can't. I just don't think you could have her actively alive and just be hanging around and stuff. But and you can't do direct Halloween too because yeah, they're all. He's not a wee lad anymore, you know. So
yeah, I don't really know what you do for a sequel because I feel like that sequence of him going to the hospital and taking her out, like That takes 10 minutes, and then what's
That's
the
the
rest
whole
of the
movie.
movie at that point?
Yeah.
There's like no connection to anything else at that point with all the other characters
Yeah.
getting offed along the way.
That's where like it's a fun response where it's like, oh, I'd want to do it in a subversive. But that's where it's like for me, it's like I guess I'd have to hear the pitch right first, and that's where it's tough because I don't think they'd pitch you the idea. But it's just like this story, whether it's like myself where I think it's closed or if Dylan thinks it's opened, either route, I'm like I don't think I'd see a sequel like that is like satisfying. You know, like because even if it's a sequel of them facing down again years later, let's say he got away with it and she's alive, it's like. I don't have much like I don't know. There's nothing. I think it's like this is like perfect where it is. It's a good circle. You know.
I think I almost would have liked it more if she wasn't alive at the end, and that's like also the subverting another expectation that. Oh yeah, there's no happy ending to this. Like he successfully pulled it off. I think I maybe would have liked that a bit more because this felt a bit more generic. I'll say it.
And then he's on to his next victim or lady that is denying him. So
Yeah, exactly.
Ted, you trying to say something? You look like you. I keep seeing you go to the mic there.
No.
No, I just thought I saw some lips move. So
Well, I was thinking like I mean, but you already pretty much said it. If they were to do a sequel, it would be. I imagine he gets out of juvie. You know, time
Gets
later.
out of juvie.
and Gets out of juvie. Time later, and he goes for her.
I don't know what the rules and regulation are at juvie, but I would have to say, let's say my ending happens and he gets proved. If he killed 3 people, I don't think it doesn't matter if he's 12. I think he's in there for
Well, you
the
can get like tried as an adult in that instance. Can
Yeah,
you?
I think you're in there for the rest of your life, or at least you're in like a mental home the rest of your life. Like, there's no way you're. And of course, that could be him break. That could be the right. Is that the sequel where he does go to juvie and he breaks out to try and get her? Like, that could be it. But same thing. I'm like, what's the subversion there? I really don't know.
They do a skip of like 40 years later. They just recast. It's it's some revenge.
It's like that Halloween movie where
tale.
they're making a documentary on it.
Yeah.
What else? I there's a couple. I like the sequence with the carolers, just because I think like man, it's so that's like some good dark comedy there of all this crazy shit's going on inside this house, and he's just out there like he's like giving them hot chocolate, just being such a schmoozer. I love the sequence at the end with when he's like trying to get the pencil. To stay on the doorknob, but he just can't do it. I just love the acting of that, like trying to do it like 3 or 4 times. He can't get it to work. And then he's out on the roof, and I just love that little quip, like "fucking deers" when he like kicked over the one deer. I thought that was pretty funny. So I like that sequence there, and definitely knew something like the way that pencil thing was shot of like the mom showing her how to do it. I was like, oh, that's foreshadow 101 right there. Like this is absolutely coming back at some point. I thought what would happen is she would. This is like even before I knew that it was like the friends setting up this burglar thing, but I thought like someone was gonna get knocked on the ground there. And that was going to be like how they like fought off the bad guys, like grabbed the pencil that was under the carpet and like stabbed the bad guy or something. But it ended up not being quite that, but it still came back in some way.
Yeah. I liked which they used a couple times. I liked the reveal of him killing the gerbil. That was a fun time. Like, oh, he killed your gerbil, and then she used that against him. So that was a good time.
Fucking psychopath, eh? Murdering your
Yeah.
friend's gerbil.
Yeah. And I kind of like that they made that kid even be a bit like he's pretty dumb, like that. He just has a best friend who's, a little off kilter, and he's still. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely would be serving some time. He got blown away with a shotgun, so he's not serving any time except for in hell, I guess, if you believe in that. But yeah,
He was in the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There you go. Oh.
I was just gonna say he was in the Visitor, that Shyamalan movie.
He was in The Visit.
The Visit, yeah, The
with
Visitor.
our lead female too.
oh
Olivia
my
DeJonge.
god,
Those were the
right.
kids.
That's
Really?
crazy. So they worked
Yeah.
together like within a year or two back to back. That's really cool because I looked at I saw her. I'm like, where is she from? And she's also plays Priscilla in the new Elvis movie, like the Austin Butler one. I was like, I don't remember that, but I was like, I recognize from somewhere in The Visit, but same thing. I knew I recognized him from somewhere, but oh, that's cool.
That's funny,
a fun
actually.
little connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
didn't
I don't
make
think
it,
I've
though.
seen her in anything before. But yeah, I thought that was a good. I think that worked for me, that plot line, because I don't know, like I guess it does, the intensity does get ratcheted up pretty quickly, but still, like I guess you can understand how he would get strung along from one thing to another. Like he knocks her
Yeah.
out, they just lock her up. Like at this point, like nothing. Okay, it's bad, but it's like it's not horrendous yet. Like no one's been hurt physically at that point. So to me, it works that he's getting strung along, and eventually he's just seen too much. Where it's like, man, I can't get out of this. Like I'm gonna have to commit to it. And once again, like as you mentioned, he is like a young teenager or something too. So obviously he's not gonna think through it completely. So I think that worked for me and added like a nice element where like she's trying to get on his good side the whole time to break out, and so add
Yeah.
a little bit of tension there.
And even that's what I like about our main character. There's not some big crying scene where that you don't have to do this. The whole time it is just kind of like she's always trying to parse like realistic information of like you're not gonna get away with this. If you don't stop now, your parents are gonna find out and you're pretty much screwed. Like she's trying to appeal from that, like which makes sense for a child, right? Like you're gonna get in big trouble if you don't, let me go and all these things. And so yeah, I like some of that stuff, and then obviously there's a lot of portion where unfortunately she's just kind of taped up, so she doesn't have too much dialogue. And I thought she was good enough lead for what this is.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you need like a knockout actress or actor or anything. Like it's a fun enough role. So
She seemed like smart enough to like handle at least what she could. Like obviously there's not much she can do if you're just taped to a chair or whatnot, but she
Yeah.
seemed like a believable individual, like in those scenes, not just, I don't know, over the top,
Yes.
like a stereotypical like victim type character might be in one of these movies. But she seemed like she, like even when, like you said, like when she's just talking back to Lucas of not just like, you don't have to do this, please let me go, like it's all gonna be okay. Like it is laying out the more realistic side of the situation. And then like even just later on when I can't remember, I think it is actually when Garrett just gets fucking blown away and she like doesn't even react at that point because she's just become like so numb. Like she's like, it's one part going through like shock and trauma, but if you're just like engulfed in it for that amount of time, like you must just like, you have no reaction. It's like, I'm taped up here, this fucking psycho just won't leave me alone, won't let me out. He just killed his own friend, he killed my boyfriend, my ex, all these different individuals. She's going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think his base plan was? Just to like once he got her tied up, like what was just the initial first plan after that?
Like, what do you mean? Like, what part? Like when
When he
when
first
she
tied her
finds
up.
out?
No, just you like what? I guess it was just he concocted this plan to just kill. I guess she does say that, right? Like you were never gonna let me go. So I guess the second he hits her, ties her up, he just knows that okay, I'm gonna kill her, the boyfriend, and maybe another person.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point it's already gone off script, and like maybe he's slightly considered these options, but I think he just envisioned the perfect world where she like falls in love with him, they bond over this moment,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like after he hit her out of rage, I think that's already off script at that point. So I think he's kind of
Yeah.
improvising.
I took it like, yeah, that was his perfect plan. She just falls in love with him, which obviously didn't happen. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to just destroy her whole world around her. Just like brings in her boyfriend, brings in the ex to just like basically murder. Just, yeah, fucking psychopath child.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's having fun with it.
Anything
Yeah, I
else
wonder-
Oh, good.
Was because I feel like even just the amount of knowledge he has on the ex-boyfriend and I guess the current boyfriend makes a bit more sense, but it feels like maybe he's been doing some research of thinking like, man, how could I take this boyfriend out? Like maybe that was part of the plan for like the months leading up to this moment or something. Is he's planning out this ex-boyfriend takes out this boyfriend, and
Yeah.
that's like some harebrained scheme, and like somehow that bonds all of them together. So I don't know. I guess I said at the top like maybe he had this whole thing planned out, but I think the more and more I think about it, the less and less that makes sense, and it really is just improvising. But maybe there were little inklings of plans that he had just fantasized about, and he's like, I'm gonna bring it to life here.
See, that's more the John Kramer, the jigsaw, all these different. Oh, if it doesn't go this route, go this route.
Yeah,
If it
he's
doesn't go
definitely no
this route-
genius. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
no. Anything else? I don't have much for trivia. I have like 3 notes because there's not much trivia about this because they're probably keeping it pretty hush with the whole money laundering part. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't think I have anything else.
I don't think I got anything else either.
Nope, nothing for me.
you sure, Kirkland? You sure?
No, I'll stay quiet.
No, what was it? Is there some more name you want to bring up? What was it?
Not really. I just feel like I don't know. I was gonna try and pull some positives. I did like the little twist where Garrett looks like he got shot, but they like rigged up the paintball. Like the gadget aspect, which I guess you can compare it to Home Alone. Like that
Yes.
stuff was fun. Shows some of his mastermind techniques. And like I will say like they did a good job with the twist stuff. Like when they actually had the burglar in the house with the shotgun, that was actually just Garrett. Like there was some real fun tension in those moments of like the babysitter hiding in the laundry machine room and then the buzzer goes off and it's just up until that point it's like holy fuck, like the killer's gonna come get them. again, like it is early on in the movie, so maybe I was expecting, like I said, Santa Claus to come out or someone, some mean one type
We'll make
appearance
that
there.
movie, Kirkland. We'll make the Santa Claus killer movie.
And man, what type of spiders do they have? And I guess they are in Australia, so that
Yeah.
makes sense. But man, those
True.
spiders were
Well, they're not in
large.
Australia. They're in U.S., right?
No,
No,
I
they're
know,
in
I'm kind of
Australia.
breaking the fourth wall, but
Wait,
in the movie they aren't. But in the
Yeah.
movie, they're filming in Australia. But
So
the
maybe
movie's
they
not in Australia.
they grab some from the spider dispensary in Australia.
But I guess it does, like, they are revealed that they are his spiders, right? He captures them and puts
Yeah.
them back in the cage.
He was, studying spiders and then,
In the attic.
yeah. His mom was studying right before she died. And what? Sorry, what was the dynamic again? It was the separate marriages, right? Come together, right? So there's stepbrother, stepsister. Is that what it was, or was she just?
What
a
are you talking
babysitter?
about?
Was she just a babysitter?
Just
Just a
He's a
babysitter. Yeah.
babysitter, yeah.
Her family's like moving away too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I definitely confused the plot point I had at one point in my mind because I thought
Oh,
one point
yeah.
there was that
There's
sort of situation.
There's no
so-
incest going on here.
I
Travis.
still thought he was old enough too to not have a babysitter. Clearly, he was.
I
old
asked
enough,
Shay
12
that
years
early
old.
on. I'm like, what age were you still having a babysitter? It's different because like I have a sister that's 4 years older than me, so I feel like that kind of took the role of babysitter. But I don't know. Maybe my parents were just immature and didn't protect their child enough. I don't know. I feel like that's
they're
pretty
hoping for a
late.
Home Alone situation. Home firm
12
Harry and
years
Marv to
old.
come get
He definitely
you.
seemed old enough to not need a babysitter for one
Yeah.
night.
He's
Considering
concocting
she-
these
Especially what we
plans.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we know he did not need a babysitter. We could have avoided all this if they didn't get a babysitter. So
And he's got his fucking like his womb sounds. I've never heard of that before. Is that actually a thing? That like
Oh right, the heartbeat thing under his.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a fetus
I've
monitor
never known
thing,
that
they
to be
said.
like a 12-year-old thing. Maybe like
I did.
newborn.
I did kind of like the two
like a nightlight,
callbacks
right?
with the parents where she talked about that whole story about. Or he talked about the story about the mom holding him and she doesn't anymore, and that's when stuff was wrong. And the last shot of the movie before the post-credit scene is the mom holding him. So
Right.
he finally got that back. And almost to go into the whole like how he's like, it's supposed to be just like impressionable teen and what is it? The what's flowing with you? When you're hormones, when
The
that's going on.
horniness.
Yeah, that going on. But like his dad has multiple lines of just being horny. Like he's just talking about sex
Oh,
and
yeah.
like that. So it kind of like
Even
I
on the
like-
babysitter's like, "Oh, you're looking good tonight." Or something.
Yeah,
I
so I
hated
kinda
that line.
Yeah, and I liked it because it's like obviously his dad's not a killer, but maybe it shows his dad's also like one of those inappropriate guys.
Sleazy,
Just
yeah.
doesn't get the message. So between that callback and the whole "Hey, your mom's never gonna hold you again," and the last shot of the movie is the mom holding him, I like that. So it was.
I like too when the parents are coming back at the end of the movie, and I don't remember like everything that was said, but the mom says something like, "I hope you're not talking about sex after that meal. I'm so bloated."
Yeah.
That line got me.
Yeah, I only have three because the other ones there wasn't too much exciting here. Original titled "Safe Neighborhood," so that could go in your point, Dylan. That maybe if it wasn't a Christmas one, because Safe Neighborhood that has nothing to do with Christmas, right? So Safe Neighborhood. Despite the American, I just put this in because I was like, I don't know why, but despite the American setting, the sets were constructed with a 1.44 millimeter or millimeters high door handles of older Australian homes, which American writer and director Chris Peckover called a source of distraction and frustration. I never once noticed the doors. I never once had an issue with the doors, but I guess for some reason the doors looking different he was not a fan of because
The handles were higher up. Is that what he's saying?
the sets were constructed with the 1.44 m high door handles. Yes, the door
It
handles
did
were high.
seem like when she was locking the door, it was like way up here, and it did stand out to me a little bit. But I didn't.
But I mean,
make
I'm
a
sure
note
there's
of it.
somewhere in the U.S. where there's locks like that on a house. You know,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
it's like, what is Chris saying? He's been to every house in America. Like, what are you, man?
The world.
No, you know why he was complaining? Because they constructed these doors, and he just saw the budget. Like the $3 million kept being used. He's like, no,
$100,000 a door.
Yeah.
Mine.
Yeah,
that's my-
I
that's
need
my
this
check.
money. Yeah. And then finally, Selena Gomez was interested in playing the role of Ashley, but opted to focus on her music career and upcoming tour. So there was
That was a good choice.
Another good
Yes
point.
and no,
I
'cause
would
I
have
bet-
loved to see her in this movie. That would be so cool.
and I bet the movie would have done better too. More people, more eyes would have been on the
But
movie if Selena
more
Gomez
expensive?
turned it.
Would have
Probably.
made $200,000.
Yeah, Chris wouldn't have got that money. He'd be like, no, we don't need you, Selena.
Would have had to
Sorry.
film in America. Yeah.
Yeah. Dylan, final thoughts.
No, I don't think I have many. This is a fun time. I don't think this will be a yearly rewatch. Well, it definitely won't. But
Yeah.
I can see myself watching this every once in a while. It's
Yeah.
a good time. A nice. This is what I like to see when our patrons pick like just movies I've never heard of. They always seem to pick some good ones. Even like we just talked about Sucker Punch. It's like just a very interesting movie to pick. So once again, a good solid pick here. I'm glad I watched this one.
Yeah, no, I'm about the same. I don't have too much to say. It was fun. Good little submersion there. I enjoyed it. A few little cons here and there. But yeah, I'd probably go like a 7 out of 10, somewhere around there. It's one I will watch again, but nothing probably in the near future. But it'll be maybe a couple of years ago. Oh, okay, yeah, haven't revisited that in a bit. So yeah, that's where I am. Kirkland?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say never say never, but I feel like I won't actually revisit this movie. Who knows though? Maybe I'll rewatch it and like it a little bit more now that I know what I'm getting
Ooh.
myself into. But I'm gonna distance it a little from this viewing. I feel like yeah. So for ratings wise, I feel like I understand why people like this. It's just I definitely didn't love what was on screen for a good portion of it. It's tough to like want to fail it because it is at least well made, like it looks good. I feel like the twists are
3 million.
fun enough, but yeah, so I think I'll just go 5 out of 10 just
Five.
to
Classic
give it a
pass.
pass. But
Yeah.
yeah, really didn't vibe with the charisma of the main fellow there. But yeah, I'll leave it there.
It's pretty key too, so.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said at the beginning, the changeover just with that after that initial very familiar set piece really had me hooked, and just how things are expediting and getting more outrageous and flamboyantly like cockeyed, just with how things like murders were happening and just shit was going sideways. I was loving it, and just not being able to keep up and predict with how things were going made it just a really entertaining watch. And I'm not probably going to go and rewatch this every single year, but it's something I will definitely rewatch again. I would love to see a sequel come out of this just because I'm curious, but I'm not expecting it to be anything great. I don't think they can really do wonders with how it ended. I mean, I say that in like a predictability sense because, like we already discussed, I feel like she's just gonna tell the cops on whatever. Yeah, he it's over for him. But yeah,
It's over for
it's
him.
over for him.
Just the
If you've listened and you didn't watch the movie, I mean, the plot twist has already been spoiled, so that's kind of shitty. But
we warn them. They don't get to
Yeah,
complain now.
we
You know,
warned it, but-
we
I'm gonna give it a like an 8 out of 10. I had a really good time watching it, and yeah, good stuff.
There you go. Good stuff. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, thank you to April for recommending this, and thank you to all the patrons that put in your picks. Next year, if your pick didn't get in there, there's always another Christmas, and there's always another Geek First Christmas retrospective. And we will be there unless a little kid comes and kills us. But until then, it'll not be boring.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I hope there's someone that just